Thinking of, the pressure to optimize childhood, to try and make this so that we've got all the brain developing, we've got the sensory needs, motor skills, all these different things that we, like we say, we do have knowledge of now.
Mm.
But thinking back, to kind of our childhood and that kind of experience that probably children have had throughout the centuries, do you think our children actually need more from us, or sometimes do they need less?
I'm starting to think less now, and I've tried to do all of the, like, oh, let's have an enriching childhood where there's a sensory box with full of things, and it just now looking back at it, I still get moments like that where I try and think, oh, maybe we should be riding the bike a bit more or whatever. But it's better to be in the place I'm in now where it's just probably one thing a week I'll focus on because I physically can't. I think we burn out. I've reached burnout massively. And it's been 3 years of, like you said, hyper focus instead of, not instead of, but attunement. You know, it's not the same thing when you're hyper focused, it's more of a survival. So I feel like less is more, less is better because we didn't have all of those things. We got it from outside, we got it from the trees, we got it from running around, we got it from riding a bike with the friends and the little conversations we had. I think that was the sensory experience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you hear me still?
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Um, yeah, I think that's one of the things. So when we're thinking about being rooted and connected and nurturing, all the different things that we do, when we think about doing less, it's probably took you a lot, a long time to get come into that balance, and that comes with experience, doesn't it?
Mm. And then you feel you do. I've got a bit of a guilt as well of being so worried about all those things and trying to get those experiences and not being in the moment with it, just trying my hardest to get these things to work in the house. And now I'm a bit, I don't know, well, I think I've reached burnout trying to accomplish all those things. I think a lot of mums go through that as well. And now, because I don't have the energy to stress about those things as much, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so much easier, and I'm more connected to him now than ever. And I'm not planning anything. I'm not pressurizing for any activity. We are just we're just like being. Um, it's a lot easier, so much easier, and it's more connected.
yeah.
The less we do, the more connected we are, and the more we've found our own little ways and our little language because there's nothing to be focused on. It's just me and him
Yeah.
taking a breath or sitting down or having a snack.
And I think it's that, you know, just being able to let yourself not hold all of that on your shoulders, and just like you say, that's more of an attunement, isn't it? Let's just be um together, and sometimes that constantly trying to do things, it's not great for our nervous system. It's got not great mentally, it's not great physically for us, and we have to just sometimes give ourselves, that permission to pause, just to think, you can watch, you can let them
Mm,
play, you can sit and watch, you can
yeah,
wonder, you can try something, and if it doesn't work, you can try again. You
yeah.
are allowed to be a parent without becoming a full-time developmental specialist. That's
Well,
not your role.
no, I felt like a CBeebies presenter for about 2 years. That's the way it was. Yeah, it was just panning out that way because, yeah, also lack of sleep, anxiety, it just puts all those things. It's not achievable. You just can't do all the things that's out there that's meant to be enriching. So,
Yes, yeah. And because actually what the for in my opinion, the best thing really is is the parents nervous system. If the parent is worrying about everything that can happen, if they're worrying about safety, if they're worrying about are they doing this right, are they worried about how does this affect the child, constantly, what happens to that parent?
Yeah, it's burnout. You just get completely
Yeah,
burnt out. You are really reactive as well. So the more any expectation I have on a day, whether it's we're going to go to this park, it looks really great, there's this summer thing going on, he's going to have a great time. If that doesn't pan out that way and he's not fussed by it or whatever, that expectation, it just breeds like you overreact to things and you can be snappy and it just, I don't know what it breeds in me, but it just has this hold over me where, yeah, it's not a good thing.
no. No, and it's that. So, if we can just think, sometimes we do need to just pause, and just be, and just let the child explore, from a distance. And again, like we were saying, that because they've got so much adult supervision, even if you're watching from a distance, it's still letting them have that little bit more freedom, isn't it? It's like walking a couple of steps behind them when you know that they're not going to run in the road anymore, but they can feel that independence, that confidence
Yeah.
that comes from
Yeah.
um, just trying, not having parents around them constantly all the time, but you are still watching kind of from a distance. You're watching and wondering. Um, so if thinking of that, what if we're thinking about a 2, 3 year old, even babies, kind of imagine you had to strip away all the advice that you've had.
Yeah.
No Instagram, no
Yeah.
parenting books, no development chart, no 10 things your toddler needs.
Hmm.
What do you think that actually what do they need? A child kind of under
Yeah.
5.
I
What
think I know what I would do. I would definitely bring the child along with me to my day, to my things, the things that I like doing. Um, Not have to, I wouldn't put something something stimulating in front of them, whether it's a toy or a picture or something, every second of the day, which I did with Noah. If I needed to go upstairs, there was something for him to look at. It was just constant. I would give a lot of time for just um, quietness, them watching, kind of following, tracking what I'm doing. And I do things that make me feel happy. That's what I would,
Yeah,
hence to the day. It would be bringing them along to the flow of my life so that I'm happy and then I can deal with my day. And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the thing.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think the happier the adult is, the happier the parent is, the happier the child is. So actually, making sure that we have a look at that in a minute. Do your needs, but they need connection. They need to know that there's somebody there that if they can support, safety. You're always going to think of that, but there's not a huge food, you're going to think of food. They do need somebody to feed them enough. They do need play, affection, someone that knows them. So they do need all of that. But when we can think about, they do need somebody um, who can support them. Who's in a good enough place to support them. And I think that's one of the things that possibly you'll have realized, as you're going through the parenting journey, um, that the more your needs are met, the more
Mm.
you can meet your child's needs. Um, but that supporting yourself and ensuring that you're in a good place is actually really important. That having time to rest, having time um, to do that. So, you know, it's when we think of attunement, to a child, we can think about attunement to ourselves, and that's what you were saying. So it's still, being authentically. Sally's not disappeared. You know, she's
Mm.
still a mum and you've still got to give most of your time and energy into an under five. Um, but you can do it in the way that still means that you can have permission to attune to yourself. You know, if you're attuning to yourself and what you need and what you need from a situation, it kind of does help you. What do you think to that?
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of where I'm at the moment. I think it's took, like I say, 3.5 years to um just because I think because he's more able, so he can go upstairs, I can hear what he's doing. I know that he's safe, the windows are shut. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm leaving him to his own devices, but I can kind of I'm starting to hold back. So holding back as in I'm not jumping in straight away for everything. I'm not giving an answer to things straight away. It's more of a stepping back and seeing if he figures it out himself and if he can do things himself and sitting down. I've started to just sit down and have a cup of tea, and he knows the tea's hot. He knows he can't kind of
Yeah,
I'm not available at that point because I'm drinking a cup of hot tea. And it's weird to see that with less, he's doing so much more. He's putting his rubbish in the bin because I'm having a drink of tea, and just like is picking up his step and putting it to things that he needs in front of me. I can see him. But
yeah,
yeah, just kind of, I'm just not stepping back. I'm always going to be there and be a mother and responsible, but what I mean, responsibly stepping back, and it's helping so much.
yeah. Do you think that's more of you tuning into yourself and what you need? Do you think you're now being able to give yourself permission to have needs, to have, I'm tired, I need to have a sit down, I'm tired, and actually
Mm.
modeling your own
Yeah.
regulation, really, your own needs and how much of because I think it's one of the different things as well that parents today do, not all parents, because none of this that we're saying it doesn't cover all parents because of there's a huge spectrum of parenting, but quite a lot of parents, young parents today, which is completely different to when I was young and when my parents were young, when I was a young parent, um, you know, give up a lot of their life, their own social life, their own needs, and even their time with their partner or their husband or their spouse, because all of it in the early years is